WCR 90.3 FM, and I'm your host, Aisha Sekou, and it is a great Monday morning. I want to give a few shout-outs. Good morning to, I got to give a good morning to my mama, Shirley Jones. Good morning to you. It was my birthday last week. As you know, Sister Mary Jefferson and I share a birthday a day apart, and so I got to give my mama who birthed me a shout-out. I happened to go over a house. Someone's doing a documentary. Actually, his brother Melvin McCrae. He was the documentarian for Peter Jennings, and he's doing a documentary on folks in Harlem or something. Anyway, I had to get a picture of when I was little, so I had to go dig through my mama's photo album and take out one of them big head pictures with those 3 little braids. But anyway, it was nice. It took me back to first grade and kindergarten when Miss Kramer was my teacher, and here it is all these years later. But anyway, big shout out to my mama. Good morning, Shirley Jones, wherever you are. And got to give a shout out to Dabney Montgomery, Tuskegee Airman, Congressional Gold Medal of Honor winner, and his wife Amelia Montgomery. Good morning to you. Good morning to the visionary. Thank you for the wake up. Special shout out to Amakita Pons and Akila Pons and Amir Pons, my new grandson. I gotta pronounce his name right because I get in trouble. But that's my family there in Jacksonville, Florida. So good morning to you. And hopefully you're tuned in and listening, Keita. And she has a little black dress challenge going on that I'm supposed to join her and go buy a little black dress. Anyway, that's a whole weight loss thing, Body by Versalis. That's the challenge, and we'll be taking that on. Hopefully we'll be talking with Keita around the challenge soon. So anyway, big shout out to you, Keita. Love you for all that you do. She's a great mother and public relations person, and I'll tell folks because she's my daughter. Check out her blog, Mommy's Mix Up, and you can get that Mommy's Mix Up. It's on the internet. Anyway, that's it. Shout outs to everybody else, and if I forgot anybody, big up to Akil Rose too for his event yesterday. It was hot, off the chain, and took me back to the old school. Had me out there dancing and acting crazy with young people. Okay, Keita says she's listening. I got your text. I can't believe we're getting all these texts and calls in studio. Usually we don't get them. So anyway, big shout out to Akil Rose. Nice event. Speaking of events, somebody's calling in. Okay, let's see who's on the... All right, let's see who's on the line. Good morning. Welcome to Street Corner Resources Live. Who's on the line? Hi, Keish. Hi. You have to be listening. You're not listening right now. Right? Are you listening to the show? Okay, you have to tune in. You're calling at the wrong time. You have to tune in. Thank you. Okay, so we asked that if anyone's calling in for artists that you should be listening to the show. Okay? Because it makes it very awkward. We have other guests in the studio. Anyway, speaking of events this weekend, we have Brother Joe Rogers, Total Equity Now. Good morning, Brother Joe Rogers.
How are you?
I can't complain. It's just not enough sleeping time.
We were talking about that earlier. I feel you. Yeah, I'm in the same club.
I don't know. Is this what passion does to you when you're passionate about something?
I think so. I think you have to be able to manage yourself though, so it's whatever you're doing, it's sustainable, and that's a lesson that I think I'm still learning, and I know other folks are still learning as well. But,
yeah, after
when
all
you're
these
passionate,
years.
you want to run. You want to do the good work and do as much of it as you can. So.
Yeah. So tell us, you had this great walk. Folks, there's been a lot of buzz about it.
Yeah.
And this whole thing of folks carrying books. And
absolutely, yeah.
Folks are reading and discussing, and we're hearing more and more talk about the importance of reading.
Absolutely, yeah.
And families reading together. So tell us about Total Equity Now first, and then tell us about how the event went.
Yep, my pleasure. Again, Total Equity Now, the organization that I founded, is created to empower Harlemites as active participants and decision makers in advancing educational excellence and equity across our village, which is a complicated way of saying we want to get more community members involved in education and in strengthening education in our community. And so on Saturday at 1:30 p.m. we had our second annual Literacy Across Harlem March, Book Drive, and Community Celebration. We did it last year in conjunction with the Harlem Book Fair last July 2012. This year we did it a little bit differently and decided to do it in the fall around sort of back to school time. And it's a very simple concept. So last year we had folks march along 135th Street carrying in one hand their favorite book of all time and a book to donate to a literacy program, homeless shelter, foster care agency, et cetera, in our community. This year we had folks start from two of our amazing community bookstores. Shout out to Sisters Uptown Bookstore and Cultural Center at 156 in Amsterdam. And the other was La Casa Azul bookstore. La Casa Azul, for those of you who don't speak Spanish, is the Blue House, located over at 103rd Street, 103rd Street between Park and Lex. So you got Sisters, which is a predominantly African American, African diasporic bookstore, and La Casa Azul, which is the only Latino bookstore in New York City. So everyone met there at 1:30. Your co-host Talib Hudson was up with the Sisters Uptown folks, holding it down, helping us to lead that March contingent. And at 2 o'clock on Saturday, everyone marched to the center of Harlem, to Marcus Garvey Park, to the Richard Rogers Amphitheater, again carrying in one hand their favorite book of all time, in the other a book to donate to a literacy program or transitional living facility in our community. And we stacked the books high on the stage of the amphitheater right there in Marcus Garvey Park. And leading up to that effort, and actually a little bit later that day, we collected some more books. We collected roughly 500 books, all of which we're going to be distributing later this month to fellow Harlemites who may not be able to purchase their own books or trying to learn English.
Oh, really? Where will that happen?
Well, we're having a sorting event on October 19th, and I'm starting to lock down the sorting facility.
A sorting event. What's a sorting event?
Sort of a book sorting party. So, buy some pizza, maybe some soda, or for the healthier folks, some water.
Some juice, too.
Some juice, right?
Kick the soda to the ground.
Right. Even juice has a lot of sugar, so you might want to cut that with a little water. Keep down on the calories and all that fructose.
Well, my daughters listen. I can't say that I can rock with the pizza because I'm supposed to be on this challenge.
Okay, we'll get some salad for you. We'll get some salad for you.
Some salad and carrots, like rabbit food.
Okay,
sand
that's
and
what
grass.
I eat. I'm a vegetarian, so I'm down for the salad. But we'll be sorting on October 19th, and we'll take those hundreds of books and we'll sort them into young children, sort of baby books. Elementary school, sort of middle school, high school, and then books for maybe that might be greater interest to adults in our community. And we'll deliver them, most of them the same day, to some of these facilities I mentioned earlier. So again, it's about Harlemites helping Harlemites. We have a lot of power, we have a lot of resources in the community, and this is about leveraging both our power and our commitment to reading and our love of reading and knowledge, and using that knowledge in order to help better our community. Very simple concept, but it was great. We had probably a few dozen people come out, which was a little lower turnout than we had hoped for this year, but we learned some lessons from that. But the energy was off the hook, and it was a good, diverse crowd. Shout out to I'm going to get the chapter name wrong, but there's a group of Delta Sigma Theta sisters who marched from Sisters Uptown. We had Teachers College Coalition of Latino Scholars, Teachers College Black Student Network. We had a couple of church groups. We had Tony Edwards from Harlem Trends, a great blogger, and he also tweets a whole lot. So we had a good group there, and we had a lot of fun, and we're excited about the next one and making it even bigger and better. So I hope you all out there in Harlem Land, Harlem Village, will join us next year. You'll be hearing about it probably the next few months. We'll try to lock that date down early. And as you know, Aisha, this is an extension of a larger initiative called Literacy Across Harlem, and we ask all Harlemites the first day of every month for what we call Literacy Across Harlem Day, to rock those reads. That's our hashtag for Instagram and Twitter. Rock those reads, which means carry your reading materials outside of your bag everywhere you go in Harlem, the first day of every month. And again, we've been in your shows, I've talked about it, but just a reminder for folks. The reason why we do that is because if you walked on the average block in Harlem, you see folks with iPhones. I see we got a few iPhones out here this morning. You'll see coffee, you'll see designer bags, you see people rocking, sometimes I rock Jordans. Today I'm rocking some other Nike running shoes, but we rock everything. We need
Right.
to rock those reads.
Exactly.
Reading doesn't show our young people we're proud to be readers.
Exactly, and we pay homage to everything and everything. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It's not new.
And really, one of the things that stays a constant in my mind, because we work with young people who are engaged in gun and gang violence, and in that, what we find, Street Corner Resources was on Rikers Island this summer doing workshops, and what we found was that most of the young people who are incarcerated have very low reading levels.
That's true, yeah.
And that the projections for the building of prisons is directly connected to young people's reading level.
And that's good.
That they make the projection on whether or not they're going to build new prisons and where.
Absolutely.
Based on their reading level. And I'll just say one last thing about that there has actually been maps done that show the target areas where most of the prisoners will come from.
Was it $1 million blocks? You know that? There's some of that
I think that's
blocks.
what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it points out where the lowest reading levels are, and that's where the majority of the prisoners will come from.
Yep. There's a lot of overlap there. And I mean, if we're not doing our job to make sure, whether it's in school, whether it's outside of school, to encourage reading, taking our kids to the libraries, mentoring them about the importance of reading and writing. Let's not forget, we can share the spoken word, the written word rather, as much as we can read it. And if you look at some of the rates, libraries, if you look at some of the some people don't believe in standardized test scores, they don't subscribe to them as much, but if you look at the recent test scores on the state exams here in Harlem and the surrounding areas, the reading rates for many of our kids, and not in all the schools, some of the schools did all right, but in many schools in our districts, the kids are struggling. The reading proficiency levels are in the teens, right? Less than 20%, less than 30%, 20% in some of our schools. Our kids are not reading at grade level, so we need to work on that. And you mentioned libraries, or you shouted out libraries on the sheet there. We started an initiative last summer called Visit Your Harlem Library, and that's something that I need to start planning pretty soon here. We're trying to drive community members to the local libraries, because the most Harlemites who even grew up here, they don't know that we have more than 2 or 3 libraries. They know the one that's closest to them, but they don't know that each of them offers something very unique and special. A lot of free programming for teens, employment assistance even in some of them, and obviously all the books, computer access, DVDs, and all that you can borrow. But these are community centers, and we need to really take advantage of them. Shout out to the Schomburg Research Center for Research on Black Culture at 135th and Lenox, doing some great work there as well. So.
Oh yeah, brother Khalil Gibran Muhammad. Yes, excellent work at the Schomburg.
Yeah, they had a great, their first Fridays on Friday. They had this little sort of club atmosphere with a DJ and all that, so I saw him briefly on Friday evening.
Oh yeah, I stopped through.
That's right.
I stopped
we
through.
Saw we were traveling together that day.
Well, I can't say I got M&Ms. My daughter's listening. But anyway, there was a few M&Ms left. There was nothing else on the table. But it was a good opportunity to talk with some folks. I always love coming, engaging at the Schomburg. And the Schomburg is a research center in Black culture.
Yes.
But it is, people need to know that it is a library, and so much happens there.
Yeah, find out about it. Don't sleep on the Schomburg.
I'm challenging right now. I'm challenging our community to go into the library in their neighborhood. Just like go in there, see what's going on, find out the activities, and then a lot of times they're looking for people to come in and do some things, like to engage young people. Yeah. So just go in. You don't have to have a degree to go in the library. A lot of times, depending on what you do for work or what your life experience has been, you can go in and say, I'd like to set up a workshop for young people or for adults or for seniors, and just go in and get involved.
Space. It's public,
and we
library.
Pay for it.
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line. I walk in the library like I own it.
Right, entitled. You should feel entitled. We don't feel entitled enough about a lot of our public resources. So I know you have other fine guests here that Harlem needs to hear from. So
give us a telephone number. We need to know how to
Absolutely.
contact you. And I know we said something about libraries, but I know that there is an initiative of libraries in schools. And it's really a shame to even know that some schools do not have a library. And
Absolutely.
I think after my principal at Harlem Renaissance High School, and he heard us talking about libraries, and we do have a room where there's books.
Okay.
And I did see a sign go up on the door that said library.
Yeah.
And so now we have to make that the real reality, like a
And you're in
place
high
where
school.
people can go in and use the books.
Yeah.
And he's committed to that.
I'm glad to hear that,
So
because
he doesn't have like to have to hear my
that's
mouth
really
about
important.
anything.
You know, there's actually a state law that requires all middle schools and high schools in New York State, obviously including New York City, to have a certified library media specialist on staff and working with the young people to help them do the research, both sort of hard copy research and online research, to help them develop a level of reading, et cetera, et cetera. So half the schools in New York City don't have school librarians, and that's not only a violation of state law and our kids' constitutional rights under the state constitution, it's also a shame. So we wonder why other kids sometimes run laps around many of our kids. Well, in many cases, we're not giving them the resources they deserve and need, and school libraries and school librarians are a big part of that. So thank you for mentioning that. As I sign off, I just want to give you a phone number, 646-543-5695. You can also check us out, facebook.com/total equity now. Facebook.com/total equity now.
Telephone number one more time.
Yep, 646-543-5695. And thanks so much, Sister Aisha, for having me on again. And good to see you all, brothers.
And happy
coming up
birthday
here.
to you, Joe Rogers.
Thank you.
Peace and
That was
blessings.
Saturday, yes.
We'll be right back. We want you to keep it locked right here. WHCR 90.3 FM. You're listening to Street Corner Resources Live, and I'm your host, Aisha Sekou. And we got a little James Brown for you. Keep it locked right here. Peace. Okay.